I hope I'm not in the friend zone.
We go through the path. Christina takes us down a path of cursed art.
Yeah, she did some excellent research for this episode.
She always does.
Yes.
We show up. We're like, hey, we researched this a little while ago.
Like
we got
bunch
drunk.
of children just getting fucked up and making noises during the whole thing.
Yeah.
Especially during the intro and outro of this this podcast we have here.
And then we're in the background just like making noises and just doing random shit like who knows what we're doing.
But yeah, she did she put together an awesome episode on just cursed artwork, a few cursed paintings from a few different artists.
About 4 different paintings.
The polar bear one was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
The Ivan the Terrible one was fucking
That was my
sweet.
favorite.
Yeah, we'll get into all this in this
Those
episode.
they were
It's
fucking
great.
awesome paintings.
Yeah.
I can't remember the artist names, but
I know there's got to be more than just what we covered today.
Oh,
in this episode. So
she's got a couple.
We'll probably
other
do another
ideas.
cursed artwork at some point.
there's some of those crime podcasts that'll get into stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
haunted drawings made by serial killers, stuff like that. Maybe we can pull up a couple more of those. That would be fun.
Let's give him some serial killer.
I'm sure
shit.
there's plenty out there.
John Wayne Gacy.
But yeah, enjoy this episode. This is cursed artwork.
Thanks, Christina.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I confused.
That was a half. It's a half gone.
Hey guys, we're back.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, how you doing? I do believe the subject today is going to be cursed artwork, which Christina has done some excellent research for us.
She's here to best us again because
we're all going into this blind. I haven't really seen anything.
We are on
that
the
she's
cusp of
ready
a
to talk
Friday the
about.
13th.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Also, the Ides of March.
Oh snap!
Oh, if you're Julius Caesar, you get got.
Guys, maybe we should save this for Halloween.
Brute. In a world where Brutus turns on Caesar, who saw it fucking coming? Reggie just shit his pants.
Sounds like every Michael Bay trailer ever. All right, so let's go around and plug our shit shamelessly, guys. I'm Josh Ruff at joshruff.com on all the things, www.joshruff.com, and we're here at Renaissance Studios again at RS2TattooNY on Instagram.
Hi, I'm Reggie Cuvelier. You can find me at Reggie Inks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
I'm Christina Maslar. You can find me at Christina_Maslar on Instagram, Facebook. Just Google my name. You'll find me eventually. I paint and tattoo, and I'm here at Renaissance, and I'm married to that guy. Done. You go.
Bam Maslar. I'm a painter. You can find me on Instagram at Bam_Maslar. You can probably also Google me. I don't know what's going to come up.
Google me, bitch.
Google me, bitch. Co-owner.
Is that
of,
your current resume?
I'm going to send that out from now on. Yeah. Also co-owner of Crucible Gallery at Crucible Gallery on Instagram. www.crucibleartgallery.com.
How long is that Stephen Russell Black show going on for?
Couple more weeks, and then
All right, cool.
mid-April will be on our next show.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
What's the next show you guys got lined up?
It'll be a surprise.
Oh, okay.
That's his way of
Hush,
saying
hush.
we're not
Top
sure
secret.
yet.
It's a top secret Mission Impossible show.
It's top secret to us, too.
It's totally top secret to me as well.
Awesome.
Is it going to be bees? What? You should have written more down. We don't know
We
what
don't
bees.
talk about that.
Okay, sorry.
That was going to be the bad news bees wave.
No.
All right, Christina. So what are we talking about today as far as
We're going to
cursed
talk
artwork
about
goes?
cursed artwork. I figured since there's movies like Velvet Buzzsaw that talks about some cursed artwork and people dying from artwork. And then there's a supernatural episode called Province where it's a cursed painting that a little kid pops out of and shanks people.
Nice.
So,
There's
Have
you
you guys-
that's a few horror tropes, you know.
Yeah.
You got
for
the
sure.
Rings where it's haunted videotapes. You got your Babadooks where it's haunted kids books. That's cool. Get some
Have you
haunted
guys seen
paintings and shit.
Velvet Buzzsaw?
I have.
Not yet.
I love
Oh,
that
no.
movie because all the pretentious assholes in it
Yeah.
die. Spoiler alert.
Working in the gallery scene, you meet
a lot of those
those
people in real life.
That movie just made me so giddy. And I was like, I felt like such a bad person.
It was great.
Yeah, I felt like a bad person, but also just very like.
I
just
actually like
satisfied.
that dude's artwork too in that movie.
It is really good.
Yeah, it's pretty
it kind
dark.
of looks like Hyman's.
Yeah,
a bit.
Yeah, Hyman Bloom, which we're
Bloom.
going to be doing an episode on very soon here.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
With Zach Pedley from
The North Brewery.
Oh, look at that!
Nice segue, guys.
Yeah,
Our
Slid it in
sponsor.
there.
yeah. We have some
It's a
beer tonight.
specialty.
We started off with a nice Hefeweizen
Yes, that is on tap now currently,
that
which it probably won't be by the time this comes out.
that tea brewed up called Heifer. Tea's Heifer.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smells delicious though.
Oh, it is.
It's all right.
Do you want a sip of it?
I'm good. I have my mother glass here.
Oh yes.
Mother.
Shout out to Mark Landis.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mother's glass.
I'm sorry, mother.
All right. So what's the lead-in information on this cursed artwork here?
So I have 3 paintings lined up. These are probably from the more popular artists. If you Google cursed paintings or haunted paintings, you're going to come up with a lot of stuff, but a lot of it's like urban legends, eBay stuff. This one's actually known painters. So the first one we're going to do is I already fucked it up. Edward Henry Landseer.
Is it this one?
Yeah, it's that guy right there.
Oh, what a good boy.
This distinguished dog right here.
He was born on March 7th, 1802. So a March
born.
baby. He was born.
He was
Great.
born. He was
That's
born.
a statistical fact.
We remembered the drinking game.
Well, we didn't recap the rules of it, but basically if any
Basically,
life event happens, you're
you
drinking
drink-
If you
beer.
hear us cling and you want to drink along. This
Yeah.
isn't a full-fledged bio episode, but there might be some biographical information thrown out. So
There's
if you
gonna
wanna
be.
play, then
We're
play.
gonna find out some things about Edward here. He was born in London, England, and was
That's
a
a
prodigy.
place.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go again.
My stomach hurts already.
He was considered a prodigy and studied under his father at a young age, as well as a historical painter named Benjamin Robert Hayden. Hayden encouraged him to perform dissections on animals to basically study their musculature and skeletal structure. So we'll see a little bit of that later.
So was he like murdering animals or?
Nope. This was something common back in the 1800s. So just like with people,
He just hung out back of like the Humane Society.
sure.
Okay.
There is a painting actually that's we'll get to it.
Well, people were
The-
still trying to figure stuff out, how the body works.
Yeah.
So somebody being
Yeah.
like, "Hey, do you mind if I cut that up and see
Wasn't
what's
Da
inside?"
Vinci like the first guy to really get into it and
Yeah.
you know find out the structure of the human body and how
They
to
kind of
draw it correctly?
They were accepting of that, and like Da Vinci's like, "Hey,
Which-
yo, let me cut up that dead body," and they're like, "All right."
Okay.
Which
We'll
that's
let you do
actually what
it.
Some
Hyman-
random guy fucks.
That's actually what Hyman Bloom did quite
Yeah.
a bit too. So
Well, let's not talk too much
Another-
about him because we're going to get into
I
that
don't
guy
wanna
later.
Spoil him. So he actually became well known for his animal portraits. He did dogs and horses. He also did some sculptures.
Cool.
So we're going to see that first example there is called Distinguished Member of the Humane Society. And it was painted
Dope.
in 1831. And then if we go to the next one,
what a good boy.
it's called Low Life. And it's another little good doggo boy.
Dad is not a
Um,
low life.
I know.
He's a dude of the streets.
And this was painted in 1829.
That doesn't look like
so-
Reggie.
All right.
He did very stately kind of portraits. So things that you would expect to see in a rich person's home, like their dogs going on a hunt for foxes
Yeah,
and
yeah.
horses and that kind of thing.
a bunch of ducks in the air.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then, like a bunch of good-looking
Just-
dogs or
Some rich white people shit.
Yeah, rich white people shit. He was very PC. He even got knighted at one point. So he's a sir.
Oh.
He's a sir.
Sir.
So we're going to skip a little away from him. In 1845, John Franklin left to find a Northwest Passage for trade. So he is a scientist and he wants to find a place for basically Britain to get from Pacific to Atlantic and Atlantic Pacific quicker.
All right. So you're talking about the Arctic Pass.
When we're starting,
Yes, the
And
Arctic
Cinema
Pass.
what
now,
the first
we're
season
fighting
of
for
The
that sort of
Terror
stuff.
on AMC is based on.
Exactly. So in
Was it scary?
1845, Franklin left with 2 Royal Navy ships, 129 men, and 3 years of supplies. Right there. That's what happened. And then he proceeded to fucking disappear.
Oh, yeah.
So in 1854, a rescue crew went to look for him. And yeah, it was a bummer. They went to look for them and find some Inuits, and the Inuits say that some survivors they ran into let them know where the ship's wreckage was. They took them to the wreckage. They found a telescope that belonged to Franklin, some bones of crew member among the wreckage, but the bones had evidence of cannibalism, which was a huge deal because they're supposed to be well-to-do and above all that shit. But they ate each other.
Yeah, guys, if you watch like The Terror, the first season on AMC, that's all about this whole thing. Like these two ships get stuck in the ice in the Arctic and they got no fucking where to go. There's nobody around there.
Yeah.
Like the nearest place is like hundreds of miles away over fucking the icebergs and shit to get there.
What time period we were talking again?
1800s. So this is 1854 is when they went to look for them and found their bones.
So they knew how to party then.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
I know what you're about to do.
So back to Edward. So in 1864, this guy who paints just cute little doggos and people on their
good boy.
horses decides to paint this. It's called Man Proposes, God Disposes.
Yeah, that's a
God
good title.
disposes.
Great title.
Yes. So if you see, there is a polar bear eating some people, some remains, and then there's a bloody shirt the other one's chewing on. So this is supposed to be based on the Franklin crew that died and went missing and ate each other. So no one liked it. People thought he went crazy because he went from painting horses and dogs to this.
How does no one like this?
Franklin's widow especially didn't like it because he did it during his lifetime. So she saw this and was like,
Yeah, that's
what the
a
fuck?
Pretty evident reminder of, traumatic events that happened
Hey,
in
you know how
this
your
family's
husband
lifetime.
failed? Well, here's what I
This
think
is what
happened.
He didn't make it. He was a bitch. He got eaten by fucking polar bears. But
Hey, lady, check out his rib cage.
was there any historical evidence of that TV show that I was talking about? The
I
Terror?
haven't watched it, but it's based basically on this.
Okay, do you know where my mind went?
No.
Do you remember oh my God,
Reggie's over here losing it.
when those tourists fucking encounter alligators outside of Disney?
Oh, that kid gets eaten.
Paint a portrait of him and shit.
Sorry, I didn't have that queued up enough,
They
guys.
just hanging at the edges of a small world after all.
I'm
This
trying
is the
to-
equivalent of it.
I'm trying to think, all right, where's this dude's head's at? He probably read the headline and probably giggled a little, and he was like, what do you mean, the whole fucking crew got eaten? He's just kind of giggling a little bit. He's like, that's why you don't fuck with nature, dude.
I can't stress enough for people to check out that show though, because that's a great fucking series.
Yeah,
the
it's
first season of
based
The Terror.
on this.
In that series was this monster called the Toonbach is what the Inuits call it, and it's I'm not. Well, I won't spoil it for anybody, but it's kind of
it's
polar
close
bear-ish.
to this.
Yeah.
And you have to think back then too. It's like East India Trading Company. They were just trying to make money hand over fist and trying to get places quicker. So the fact that not only they failed with 2 Navy ships, that many men, and then they fucking ate each other.
Yeah.
Then this guy was like, I'm gonna paint it, and everyone's gonna love it. I mean, they love my dog, so they're gonna love cannibalism.
And swing and a miss.
Dude,
So-
who doesn't love a good cannibalism?
Even
I don't know.
Dude,
That's where.
I gotta imagine this is a pretty graphic image for the 1800s. you
Yeah.
know?
I know, dude. He's probably loving it.
Especially
dude. I
after
fucking
a
love
great
this shit.
tragedy like that, because I imagine that was a big accomplishment
Some-
to find the Arctic Pass between England and North America.
Yeah, that
The
would have been the
headlines are-
golden ticket.
Yeah.
Does anyone have an idea how big this is?
I didn't look. It's fairly big. You'll see it later though, in comparison to people.
Okay.
So it's a decent sized piece.
See, I was hoping it was the size of a school bus, like a giant
Yeah.
mural.
It's not
It's
that
definitely
big.
a large painting.
It's a large painting though.
He's
Cool.
big. This is awesome.
So one thing we know about him is people love his paintings, especially rich people that wanted, their dogs painted and horses. He became a serf, but he wasn't into it. I don't even think he went to the ceremony. So I think this was just painted as a fuck you because he didn't like people. That's just my thoughts because of how he behaved versus where his money was coming from. But after this, people thought he lost his shit. Rumors of a nervous breakdown started and his family had him committed in 1872.
I wonder how much of a nervous breakdown it was, or they were just like, we don't like this, so we're going to hide you.
Yeah,
why
we're
he was
sick of your
committed?
shit. They said he had a nervous breakdown, and his family was like, "Can you please put him in an institution?"
I feel like it's
He's been
'cause
insatiably giggling to himself for the last month. Well,
he's having way too much fun, guys. We gotta lock him up.
He won't shut the fuck up about these polar bears.
He's a fucking joker.
He's just over there with a knife, just like,
Baiting, like, what? Oh, this dude's got eaten. That's hilarious.
Anytime he eats dinner, he's like, "Hey guys, look, chicken bone. Who am I?"
I'm a polar bear, guys. Check it out. That's hilarious. So he was kind of an iconoclast, I take it.
Yeah. So now we go to the curse. So during his lifetime, a man named Thomas Holloway bought it for 6,615 pounds, which is like a huge amount of money. And he bought it to put in his new school called the Royal Holloway, which was meant to educate females in the 1800s. So you know what's good about doing an all-female school is getting these two polar bears fucking eating people
Yeah.
and putting it to welcome them all.
This doesn't look
so-
like
Just
an
a quick
all-female school, though.
But
unless
this
there's
is
some.
that changed over time, but it's
that guy's a little confused.
Yeah.
Do any of you girls own a Bikini Kill album? If so, just a reminder about the bears. That's what happened in Howdy Women.
so in the 1920s and 30s, a legend started to pop up that during an exam, a student stabbed themselves with a pencil in their eye.
Some like hereditary kind of shit.
And wrote on their paper, "The polar bears made me do it." Other rumors said that he killed himself, and then they found on the paperwork, "The polar bears made me
Wait,
do it."
what year was this?
This was between the 1920s and 30s.
Okay.
So this
was
evolved-
before LSD, really.
Yeah.
So nobody was tripping balls.
No, so this story was passed along
but
from
They could get
years.
strung out, I think, at that point. Wasn't there like methadone?
Yeah, but
floating
it's
around?
fucking stab
cocaine
yourself?
and heroin
Morphine,
But the
morphine.
1920s in the U.S., booze was illegal technically.
This
so
is
technically.
the UK, though. This is London.
they were
Oh,
partying it up. They were like, woo!
Yeah. So this became so bad that people couldn't focus during exams. And in the 70s, someone refused to basically take their exam while sitting next to it because you could see they're right at eye level with this fucking painting.
Yeah, so
They
that's
did-
the
they-
painting-
someone
that's the painting with
covered
the
it.
flag over
Yeah,
it.
They didn't wanna sit
covered
on the
it
dude's
with a
blood
Union
stains.
Jack. And now it's just tradition. Anytime they take an exam, they cover it with that flag.
Is it
Be
because they didn't want to?
patriotic.
Is it because they
Very.
didn't want to sit on his bloodstains?
They didn't want to be haunted by those fucking polar
Yo,
bears.
so
It's a huge
Damn.
painting.
That is a huge
that's like
painting.
almost 4 feet tall,
Yeah.
right? If somebody stood up to that, it looked like it would be just
Yeah, I mean,
about
it's a
neck
good size.
to
It looks
chin,
like
right?
it fit
And
3
I
of those
feel
legs
like-
in there.
I don't
at
know.
least.
Bowl cut over there stood up.
And I feel like the weird part is it's so low to the ground that someone can just fucking put their elbow through it, and kids are just taking a test
Just
with
lean over,
ballpoint.
Well,
pens.
I mean,
Just
that's
throw
probably
elbows.
where the stuff that they're like, all right, let's not put that at eye level because it's making the students uncomfortable.
yet this dude that bought it the first place was like, "No one makes us feel more welcome than these two polar bears eating people." Write home to your parents about how warm and fuzzy you feel while you look at these polar bears eating people.
I think that's pretty hilarious, though, that they think this image is cursed.
Yeah.
Just because it was not like, it's kind of like an offensive image, you know? It's like, painting a fucking pope that's fucked up.
Pretty much. Who would do that?
Me probably. But yeah, like,
No.
But you'll find that with a lot of these like paintings that are supposedly cursed. They're all urban legend, but it usually starts with people being pissed off about the original artwork to begin with.
gotcha.
So now we're going to move on to another cursed painting. This
Thank you.
one-
I loved it. I love the bear. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Are we moving on from the bear?
I love
Yeah,
all,
we're moving on
My
from the
final
bear.
thoughts are like I've been imagining myself and that dude. It's just giggling over fucking hilarious headlines like entire crew, 2 ships with the men get eaten by polar bears in the Atlantic because we need more money. And he's like, that's funny.
He's like,
I'm
"I
gonna
fucking
make
told you."
that, dude. I'm gonna make that one, dude.
Look at that polar bear. He looks like he's throwing his head back and laughing while he chews on someone's
Got
ribs.
And that was like pulling somebody apart. He's like, you have a flag.
I think that whole thing was just a cursed voyage from the
Yeah.
beginning, though, because they were totally unprepared. And if the TV show had any kind of historical accuracy, there was like lead poisoning in their canned food too, so people like died from that,
That would
shit.
make
I
sense.
feel like they kind of knew better in the 1850s that they weren't going to make it across Antarctica.
safely.
So they were just like,
You would be
let's,
surprised.
try it anyway.
Separate
We should do
from
that.
just artwork, back in the 1800s, like late 1800s, almost 1900s in New England, this dude's family kept dying from consumption, which was tuberculosis, but they couldn't figure out it was from that. So his wife died first, then his other family started to become ill. One of the sons moved to an arid area, so it kind of carried on for a while. He came back home, died, daughter died. So the doctor didn't know what was happening, and someone was like, you know what? I bet they're vampires. I bet your wife is coming at night and stealing
You
their
know what,
life
dude?
force.
You're not fucking wrong. That was the point where we're still
And
like,
this-
hey, dude, I got a cold. Like, hey, that's cool. Have you tried snakes and leeches? Like, I forgot about
I know what
that.
the problem is. Count Dracula.
He's like, so your wife is a vampire, so we need to dig her up, take out her heart, and set it on fire so she
Shove a
stops killing
stake through her
everybody.
heart, make sure she's dead.
And he's like, you know what? That fucking makes sense. So he had to petition the town to let them
You're not
dig up
wrong.
his family to rip out their hearts and set them on fire.
Can you
Spoiler, that
imagine?
You
didn't
can never be
stop
too
the
sure.
illness.
You never know.
It was the president at that time that they were like, hey, I think I got a cold from hanging out in the snow. And they're just like, cool. I got snakes and leeches. And they're like,
Let's
yep.
bleed you out. See
Let's
what
do it.
happens.
Can you imagine if the coronavirus existed back then?
No one would survive.
It was
They'd be
called,
like,
I do believe it did. It was called the Spanish flu, and it killed a whole bunch of people.
There's always a
Nice.
wave. We always get a wave.
1920s,
Yep.
1820s.
So, guys, if we don't have a
1720s.
new episode soon, you know why. Because we're all dead.
womp, womp, womp.
Have a nice life, fellas.
So next, cursed
So-
painting.
Cheers to that guy.
Is that
Cheers.
this one?
we gotta
Oh,
cheer-
Let's
no, we gotta
cheers
cheers to
to
the
more cursed
yes.
art. We're going to ring you. Christina just ringed all of you.
Oh, this one is good.
Now we're
So
up for
this
Ringu
one is
2.
by Isla Rapin.
Oh, you mean Zombie Hitler?
Yes. So he was born August 5th, 1844, a realist painter born to a family of military settlers.
On a
He
side
went
note, I
to-
do want to do a whole episode on him.
Yeah.
His
I
life
go
is
into
crazy.
a little bit. So he was born into a family of military settlers, went to military school for surveying, but the course was canceled. So he ended up just apprenticing underneath a painter. And that painter did a lot of iconography and portraits. So he went to school in St. Petersburg for art in 1863 after this. And that's what influenced his style mostly was the portraiture from that guy. And then he did a lot of nationalist stuff and dramatic
Cheers to art
conflicts
school.
focused. So art school drink.
He was born.
He was born
and he was
too.
born. You
Double
just
drink.
rapid fired some facts,
If
but
I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a huge movement in like St. Petersburg around that time?
Yeah, it was a huge art movement around that time. So
time period again?
it's
40s.
again 1800, so 1844
Okay,
is when he was
okay.
born. And then
1840s.
1863 is when he went to college in St. Petersburg.
Germany?
Yes. So
St. Petersburg is Russia, I believe.
there we go,
Russia?
Russia.
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
you.
shit. Piss.
Stupid.
the motherland.
I've been reading
This whole
too many-
podcast is predicated on us being fucking idiots, so don't feel bad.
Let's just take Reggie out back.
It's okay.
It's fine. I'm
We'll
just killing
feed into
myself
the
in front
polar
of the camera.
bears.
You
I
know,
bet you we'll get
Now
a lot
this
of
is
views
cursed.
if you do that.
Now this is cursed. Ah!
All right, let's put the weapons away, guys. Come on.
So in 1885, he painted this, and it's called Ivan the Terrible and His Son, which became one of the most famous paintings and as well as the most controversial because it shows Ivan embracing his son who's bleeding out there.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah, so Ivan the Terrible, he was a bit of a dick,
good.
especially to his family.
so good.
His name Terrible. He sent his son's 2 wives to convents.
Shitty home
So-
life.
Yeah.
His
Big
son
shit.
decided to get married a
fuck.
3rd time because he didn't learn his fucking lesson. Ivan got upset at what his wife was wearing, and he beat her to the point of miscarrying their son.
Fuck.
So he was a little bit perturbed. And he went to his dad, and he's like, "Hey, Dad!" And what does his dad do? He hits him in the head with a scepter, and
Kills
he
him?
proceeds to
Like,
bleed out.
please.
Yeah. So this is all apparently hearsay, and this happened 300 years before he painted this, and people were still
Damn.
fucking upset about it. Even it was the Tsar Alexander didn't want it hanging, Alexander III, because he thought it was depicting Ivan as a murderer even though he was most likely a murderer. He was also kind of mentally insane and a little bit paranoid.
This is clearly a pivotal
so-
moment in Russian history, though. I mean,
Yeah.
look at how well this image is captured. Like the folds in the carpet.
And
all that
nationalists were
stuff
like,
looks great.
he wasn't that
environment.
terrible. Maybe it was like calling a tall person tiny, you know. It was just a really sarcastic nickname. He wasn't so bad. So people weren't that into it.
Ivan the not so cool.
Ivan the okay guy.
Ivan
So,
the mild
Ivan
buzzkill
the-
is here.
Ivan in the cool guy club.
So they petitioned to get it hanging. So it ends up hanging in a gallery. And this dude on January of 1913, named Abram Bakshilov, entered the gallery and slashed the face of Ivan and his son on the painting. The gallery's director resigned, and the curator was so upset by it, he threw himself in front of a moving train.
God damn.
Whoa.
The curator walked outside and murked himself.
He did.
Did he do that
He
because
committed suicide.
was this like communism? Was that a thing yet?
It wasn't a thing yet, but back then it was pre-communism, which wasn't that great either. So he ended up just throwing himself in front of a train, which is a little bit overreaction because this dude was
Just
still
a
alive.
little bit.
So he just went and fixed his own painting, and they just put it behind glass, so it
It's
didn't
like,
happen again.
Dude, you didn't have to like.
yeah, you didn't
fucking
have
kill
to throw
over
yourself
it.
in front of a train. His name was Gregory Kroslov. So he was so distressed, he was like, "Fuck this world! I'm just gonna get hit by a train."
Damn.
So Isla just went and he just fixed his painting.
Well, the reason I asked was because I don't know like what the government was like in Russia back then. If he would have gotten like Vladimir Putin over that shit.
I
you know?
believe it's just as oppressive because if we think about back when we did, I almost said Klimt. It's not Klimt. Art Nouveau guy.
Muka.
Muka. It was
Which
close
hasn't
to
aired
this. Yeah.
Nope.
So spoiler, Muka was around this time too, wasn't it? It was like 1900s, late 1800s was when he was born.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't that cool of a place back then either. So there was still that very nationalist mentality versus the new wave of people that were a little bit more hippie.
Yeah, we had like America was brought about by that shit. We had a crazy wave of political revolution in the late 1700s, and then we had it all over again in like the late 1800s, leading into the 1900s. That's sort of what set the stage for the world wars later on. And fucking, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
but
crazy, guys.
Shit got weird.
if you pull it up, there's actually a picture they took after the damage to the
that the
faces. So
detail
that's
one?
the detailed
Ooh,
one. And then
Jesus.
if you look at the next one, it's the black and white photo of the flashes.
So that's where it was cut.
yeah,
Bitch
that's
got
where
cut.
the guy
Somebody
cut
just
it.
ran in there with
And
a fucking...
What a
The guy
dick,
that
man.
did the cutting ended up going into an institution
Bitch got cut.
as well.
Put the
So-
knife away, Bam. Jesus.
So he ended up institutionalized because the dude that cut it was crazy. The curator ended up killing himself. And then they put, after they fixed it, behind glass so no one tried to destroy it. Because back then, people, of course, were very upset by this. So they were afraid that it was going to get slashed again.
I
or
wonder
acid
how you
thrown on
repair
it.
something like
I-
that, though. That's pretty extensive.
I watched a lot of Baumgartner.
Yeah.
So what they do is
Throw out to
basically
Baumgartner.
they would take
From behind?
pieces
Would
from
they, like-
behind and would take pieces of canvas to patch it. They'd put a filler on the front, sand it down, and then just paint over it so it matches, and then reseal it.
Yeah.
But then,
throw out to Baumgartner Restoration.
yeah, those
Shout
videos are
Yeah,
amazing.
dude is amazing. Have you
Watch
checked
them
those
if
out
you
yet?
Haven't.
No, it's on YouTube, though, right?
Yeah.
Baumgartner Restoration.
I have a crazy emotional response to this fucking painting because it reminds me so much of like 28 Days Later. You
Yeah.
know
I was
what
really
Yeah,
hoping.
yeah,
like-
kind of.
I was really hoping you didn't say your childhood.
No, I feel like this looks like a story beat from like the first act of 28 Days Later. Like, oh, we found a church. That'll be safe. Oh, wait, priests are eating little boys in here.
Don't go down that road.
Don't go in that church.
Sometimes dead is better.
But I feel like even if it wasn't for the whole nationalism thing, just the look in their faces is enough to be upsetting.
There
like
is a lot.
Yeah, it's
there's
pretty
a lot
intense.
of blood
Pretty
and
fucking fucking
terror
intense.
and
Even if he
tears.
did it with some sense of intention, he has immediate regret. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's
Just
like
the eyes.
if, like you said, he might have smacked him in the head with a scepter. So if he did, he's like, "Oh,
didn't
I just
mean to."
accidentally killed my fucking kid! Oh god!
Oh, God!
I should have slashed you in the fucking face with a sword!"
Just ended it quickly.
But this isn't the end of the story of this vandalism of the painting.
Jeez.
So,
Is there another one after this?
105 years later, in May 2018, a drunk patron went into the gallery, took one of the security poles that are metal, and smashed the glass in front of it,
Oh shit!
screaming about how it was historically inaccurate, and again fucked up the painting in 3 places.
Jeez.
Oh, that piece of shit.
So
It reminds me of Red Dragon.
yeah,
You know?
when he goes and eats
Yeah, he eats the fucking
the
William Blake drawing.
piece, he just knocks the bitch out.
Yeah.
And starts shoving it in his mouth because he wants to destroy the red dragon. or forget. But this is this painting, yeah. So we have one more after it. It's not as long.
So cheers to that guy.
Yes.
Cheers.
Holy shit.
Cheers to cursed fucking paintings.
Yeah. The last one we have is by Edvard Munch. So we're not going to go
Munch.
too much into this
Munch.
because
Yeah, we're gonna get into this guy eventually.
yeah, we're going to
Think-
go way
Bam, you
deeper.
got some stuff on him, right?
Yeah, some.
Cool.
So I got a
More.
little bit on him,
Little.
just a little tiny paragraph. He was born December 12th, 1863
He
in
was born.
Norway.
He was born.
Drink.
This is the guy that did The Scream.
He
One of
did.
the most well-known paintings in modern art history, I would say.
By an early age, he was surrounded by death. His mother died of tuberculosis when he was 5, and then his closest sister, Joanne Sophie, died when he was 16 of the same thing. So he was left to be raised by his religious zealot father, who was also most likely mentally ill. So Munch was quoted as, "The angels of fear and sorrow and death stood by my side since the day I was born." So, he was really chill, laid back guy. just really.
He's got some
I-
issues, is what you're saying.
I too am strange and unusual.
Good, wholesome boy.
He wasn't emo at all. He didn't have bangs in front of his face.
Just had the
Yep,
just
right
the
there.
straight. Just
It's like the goth kids from South Park.
Yeah, he was the OG
like
goth
just
kid.
this. He just had the
And
Looks
apparently
about
his
right.
dad read him a lot of Edgar
God,
Allan
you got
Poe,
a
so that
devil-
added to it. So if your dad was obsessed with religion, plus was like, there's people buried under the floorboards, you might be a little dark too. I guess that's the moral of the story. Don't fuck your kids
what was that,
up.
Reggie?
OG goth.
OG goth.
Yeah.
So because of this, he was really influenced by death, and a lot of his themes were death and dark things in his artwork. So in 1899, he
The
painted.
Cure is just playing in my head right now.
In 1899, he painted The Dead Mother and Child. It depicts a little girl with icy blblue eyes, all wide-eyed and holding the side
I
of
like
her
how
head.
she's just covering her ears.
Yeah,
Just like,
she doesn't want to hear it.
I don't wanna.
And then you see her mom.
bullshit.
Derivative.
Another punk anthem. I don't want to hear it. No bullshit. I don't want to hear it.
pretty much.
Sorry. Okay.
So she's covering her ears because she doesn't want to hear her mom being all dead and shit in the background.
Yeah,
Over
all
here.
dead and shit.
She's like, yeah.
You don't want to hear your mom being dead.
Yeah, you don't want
So-
to hear your mom being dead.
Are you talking like a death rattle? Just like.
Yeah. She's like, this woman won't stop gurgling.
It's like, oh my God, just get it over with.
So people don't know too much. People don't know too much about it, so they don't know if he was trying to depict his sister, basically being like, I'm next, I don't want to hear about it. Or if it's supposed to be him being like, my mom died, shit's going south. So
Wait, that's supposed to be him
they don't know if it's
in a
him
dress?
or that it's supposed to be his sister.
Dude, artists
There's
get
not
weird
much
sometimes.
info.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And you've never worn a dress? All
Can't say I have.
right,
so
then.
the reason she might be covering her
Me
ears,
neither.
though,
You ever wear a chick's underwear?
Never pull my teeth out
Me
either.
neither.
Ever tried to pull your teeth out? Shit. Caravaggio says you're a bitch.
Yeah.
That's how we roll on a Saturday night. Punk ass bitch.
This is a Tuesday. but close.
So the reason she might be covering her ears, though, is this is where the cursed part comes in. Apparently, this painting has never been privately owned. It's been residing in a German art museum since it's basically been acquired. People complain about her eyes following them around, feeling dread or anxiety by her, having nightmares about her when they go home, also hearing murmuring and the sheets rustling when they're near the painting. So
Jeez.
this painting is said to be cursed or haunted because of this, and people don't really get too good of a feeling when they're around it.
This painting is cursed.
It's cursed. So that is the curse of the dead mom and child, I guess.
Wait, so the curse is when people are near it, they're like, I feel uncomfortable?
It's more than that. It's anxiety. They get short of breath. Some people say they feel like they have self-harm thoughts. They
So
go
the
home.
other painting caused like people to actually like murder each other. This
Well, one guy to murder himself at least.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
Tried
one
to
guy to
murder
This
murder
one, they're
himself.
just like, I feel unsafe.
Much like that one
Creeps me
supernatural
out.
episode that we were talking about, some people complain about seeing her disembodied outside of the painting. So
Okay.
that's why
This
they
also
think she's
doesn't
haunted.
have any sort of political connotation. These are random
True.
people.
True.
Yeah.
This doesn't
True.
have any sort of political
Guys, I would have to say
attachment.
my goal in life is to paint something that makes somebody feel like that every time they look at it.
Yeah.
For fucking sure.
Am I dying?
Nice.
That's what
Goes back to
yeah.
Velvet Buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw, yeah.
When I did that show with all the burning churches, people felt kind of upset. What were the old people saying? I remember.
I like the foliage in this one. And we were like, yeah, that's totally foliage. You're just blind and can't see that it's flames.
I thought that was
We'll go with
I'm
that.
pretty sure that was my mom.
No, it was some other old blue hair ladies. They were like 80.
Blue-haired lady.
Yeah. They worked real hard to get to the top floor of that just to see your burning churches. How disappointing does it have to be? You shaved a year off of their life so they can see that.
Got to the third floor.
Okay.
When I
Okay, there's a bunch of steps up and a bunch of steps over the halfway mark. Okay, one and okay, we got one.
Oh
okay,
my
how
God.
how many more do we got? 18. Okay, 2. Yeah.
then they're just like, oh my God, Dolores,
That's
there's a bunch of burning
beautiful.
churches out there.
That's beautiful.
Look at all
Look
the
at all the
fall
autumn leaves
foliage.
blowing around it. That's great.
Ooh, and they have wine and cheese.
Yeah.
They didn't have cheese. I ate that entire cheese.
Franzia free? Wow, this is a good place.
No. The only thing we gave out was carrots because I sat there and drank the entire like liter and a half of wine and ate all the cheese.
Yes.
Nice.
Were we at Jungle Science?
No. Bundy Museum.
The Bundy.
Third
Yeah.
floor.
Right.
Third floor. People
Third
had to work to
floor.
get to my shit.
Dang, son.
Yeah.
All right.
So
man.
they
Shout
probably
out
had
to the
some
Bundy.
tightness in their chest and anxiety from going up 3 flights of stairs.
I had some tightness in my chest sitting there after drinking a liter and a half of wine and eating like a pound of cheese.
Yeah. So,
So
I guess you
Let's
can
toss
say
this
yours
question
is also
around, though.
haunted.
Has anybody else had any kind of crazy reactions to their artwork at shows like that?
The one
'Cause
painting
I know
I did of the old lady, people always get freaked out by your stomach. They're always like, it haunts me.
Yeah. It's very haunting.
Just the folds
the
and the
folds and wrinkles. And I didn't mean to make it that way. The paint just kept absorbing in that spot. So I had to keep going over it. So it's
Yeah, I remember you working on that like constantly, just
Yeah.
around her, fupa area.
nice fupa and vagina.
Hopefully, we can get an image to put up on the.
yeah, it looks like
podcast
she had
here.
18
stroke.
children and then lost the weight very rapidly, but still had all the skin
yes,
there.
very old lady.
Yeah.
It's a great painting, though. I mean, I had a couple people.
some nice saggy, some saggage going on.
Saggy saggage. Yeah.
Some saggy saggage.
Yeah, when I had that show at Jungle Science with the Pope painting there, I got some interesting responses to that.
Did people pray for you or
Yeah,
try to get saved?
all of the above. People either loved it or they fucking hated it. And I loved when people hated it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the funniest thing I've ever seen at Jungle Science was when they did the dark art show.
Uh-huh.
They did a whole little performance, and our friend Tim was only supposed to wear a mask and do like this little dance routine, but he stopped in the middle of it and said, "I sacrifice my soul and the soul of everyone in this room to Satan."
Which,
And
hold on.
the people behind us were just like,
not people.
"Oh."
No, not people.
I remember this.
Not people. When I worked for a corporate company at the time, I'm not going to say who, the HR person
Time Warner Cable.
happened to show up.
They don't
And-
even exist anymore.
Yeah.
They got
So-
ghosted. Isn't that what a
Fucking
specter is?
ghosted.
They got spectrumed.
Yes.
Is that what happens?
They sacrificed the soul
So,
of Time Warner
You got
Cable.
jizzed on
to
by you got jizzed on by a ghost. That's called spectrum.
No. So the
Got some
HR
ectoplasm
the-
on your face is what happened.
The HR person shows up thinking we're gonna show a bunch of like granny photos with like some nice watercolors. She shows up there. He starts sacrificing everyone's soul to the devil, and she kneels down and she just starts praying, like, and she's like muttering to herself and everything.
Oh my god, I can't be
And then
here
af-
right now.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I asked her, I'm like, what the fuck was that? And she was like, well, I was just casting myself in the light of God and the light of Jesus. And I knew.
prayed to Jesus to come
I
save
knew-
me from
I
Who's
knew-
got a,
I
who's
was
got a
gonna-
20-sided die? Hold on. Plus 20 against evil. Hold on.
Fucking
Plus
D&D.
5 against evil.
It's a D&D game.
Plus
all of a
18
sudden.
against evil. Cast the light. Cast the light of God. Cast the light of Jesus. Quick.
Oh, people are hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. The power.
The moral of this story is everyone has a cursed or haunted piece of artwork somewhere because people overreact.
Except Reggie. Do you have any pieces that ever piss somebody off?
I think that relies heavily on subject matter, though.
Yeah. Do you have any subjects that piss people off?
Well, I had this funny when I was in high school. I fucking did all these mock comic book covers for the pseudo like heavy metal, but it was like punk rock, fucking wannabe illustration fantasy fucking art, and like our end of the year senior fucking art show, like all of that shit. Peace, man. I remember, like, I was the president of the portfolio squad, so I organized all the fucking seniors getting, like, fucking scholarship money, and I got fucking dick because they took all of my fucking artwork down. And that was the one time I realized that, like, wow, if I'm going to say fuck you to the system, then I'm going to kind of see a lashback of that. Looking back retrospectively of, like, oh, if you say fuck you to people, they kind of say fuck you back.
At
Yeah.
least you're in a time now that they won't throw you in a mental institution.
Dude, I was
true.
in the auditorium and they were like announcing like who won because they had all these prizes set up. It was like $50 to like $500, and they announced everybody that was a part of the fucking like our little art club, and they except me. And then they're coming up on like the $1,000 fucking prize. I'm like, oh, did I win it? Did I fucking
And
win
they're like,
it? And then they're like,
"Fuck
oh,
you."
it goes to blank who did all this really nice shit. And then I look out and I realize all my art got taken down throughout the show, and I was like, oh my fucking god, fuck me.
That's some bullshit.
Well, I was gonna write some stupid comic book like Ass World, you know what I mean? And like the principal was like, he put the word ass on there. We should take that down.
that.
We can't do that.
So you were basically pulling a Gene Belcher. And your masterpiece
cue
about
fart track.
farts got taken down by Mr. Frond.
Hey guys, on a side note, to end this episode, my mom just texted me that she's watching the news, and at 220 Washington Ave, right down the street from here, there's a building on fire.
Oh,
And they're shutting down the Ave.
shit.
So
Sweet.
Brandon, good thing. This is your alibi now. Hey!
Hey,
Nice.
we're live! I didn't burn a church down.
I don't need no alibi. I don't need no alibi.
All right, so does that wrap it up for cursed artwork, guys?
Yeah.
Got to go to 45 minutes here.
If you guys have any cursed artwork,
Was that
write,
a dumb
write us
story?
about it.
Should I go home and kill myself for saying that in front of people?
Oh, you're fine.
I got a knife. Being a senior in high school, how
you-
fucking depressing was that shit?
Do you know?
Terrible.
God.
It's terrible.
Here's a knife.
Oh my god.
Don't,
Unless
don't
you're one
do
of
it.
those
Fucking-
kids
No, you know what? Should I just end it all on air? No, I shouldn't.
No,
end
don't
it,
do
kid.
that.
No, don't do that.
But maybe I should
Don't-
taste it.
don't
It does
buzzsaw
look like
yourself.
It looks nice.
Just put it down.
Ah. Okay. Here you
To
go.
answer your
Thank you.
question, though, peaking in high school is way worse than what you're describing. Because it's like you hit the high mark of your life. in
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just all downhill.
You become Uncle Rico.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I could throw this football over them hills. And
Hold on.
mountains.
Show everybody that shot where you're like filming yourself whipping one. It's like, I guess that looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. I'll tell you, Will, who is that kid out there? I'm going to find that motherfucker on Facebook. The one who did get like the few $100 fucking Jordan Jinx. Do not delete that fucking name. I will find you.
Are you gonna be?
You
really,
did some really nice fucking like graded out portraits of fucking Braveheart and shit. And like you wrapped your art display in fucking tartan and had a fake sword in there. And then they took all my artwork down. And then I saw your shit and realized why I didn't win.
Well, to bring it all around,
So fuck you.
He probably works at Time Warner Cable right now.
Oh, wait, I do have a career as an artist.
Wait,
Oh, wait, what am I worried about? My life's cool.
Reggie, before you locate this person,
Hey, guess what? Fuck everyone in high school. Come get tattooed by me if you want. My minimum is $75 and I do $100 an hour. I don't give a fuck who you are. Did you suck my dick in high school? Probably not because you're a peppy bitch, but I'll still tattoo that infinity symbol on you. Love you, baby. Bye.
And on that note, have a good night.
We're out.
Dude, I just googled 220 Washington Ave and it's on fire.
That ain't 220.
It's also not Washington Ave.